trending Zambian music video.
I wanna love with you, die with you, nah.
We cross borders, so not forgetting our international pop.
Oh, you see, you better watch out. I done the reason you. Shake bum bum fontan, no darling fontan. Superwoman lama.
We no slow down the tempo. Loving how you feeling on my hips, so. XO, you know your body make me feel like so. We don't slow down the tempo.
Your boy born there. Yeah. Confuse me. Tell me why you they confuse me, oh baby. Your body too attractive, and the way I fall for you, it be like magic. Oh no, the way you did me, I could day. And I know go fit to come.
Catch me on Zride, your coolest girl on TV, every Saturday at 17 hours. QTV, experience home.
Why be saying that you in my mind? Say you no be option, no be lie. Oh yeah, make it run away, make it fly away.
All right, the breakfast show continues. Now, moving on, I was just talking to UPND National Deputy Youth Chairperson Trevor Mwinde on a number of issues, and he raised some serious issues concerning, political violence, and also just how, just why they feel they are the victims, because they usually get provocation from the Patriotic Front. To make it more even, and of course to balance it up, I thought of bringing in Honorable Chendela Mukondo from the Patriotic Front Media, team, just to also give us their viewpoint when it comes to this issue. Honorable, thank you so much. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Comrade Zulu. I'm humbled once again to be here.
I was talking to recently. I was talking to UPND National Deputy Youth Chairperson Trevor Mwinde on a number of issues. First things first, the temporal dizziness experienced by the Republican president. As a party, how do you take it? Is the president okay?
Yes, the president is okay, is in good health. It's only that, when it comes to sickness, you cannot make it only for the commoners or is it for only a small section of people, but sickness is sickness. All of us, we are humans, be presidents, queens, kings, we all fall sick. So definitely I think the president had felt some dizziness. So, but I think the way the permanent secretary to the cabinet handled it, he announced to the whole world, to the whole rest of the country, that the president had felt some dizziness, and he has recovered. And we saw him yesterday. We thank God that he even went to do some fishing. So basically, he's in good health. He's enjoying good health, and for us as the Patriot Front is to continue praying for him, and then. We also pray for the nation, because we are in this difficult time that we are in, and that is the COVID-19 situation we are in.
Okay. As a party, how do you take that? Is it a source of alarm?
Well,
is it a source of concern that the Republican president fell while executing a national event?
If you look at the way the Patriot Front has handled the sickness, starting from way back the time of Michael Chilufya-Sata, we have separated the individual health from the performance of government duties. And that is, when you talk about sicknesses, everybody is subject to that. And, it's only in nature that somebody can fall sick. So we cannot politicize sickness, and we have always tried to avoid the politicize sickness. And what is important is that he has continued performing his duties. Even Michael Chilufya-Sata, he died while he's performing the duties of this nation, and we moved on. And for one, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, you remember very well, this is not the first time. He had also some dizziness. I remember even at State House in 2013, when the president by then was Michael Chilufya-Sata, and we had even Winter Kavimba. He was saying, "Can you hold him? If he's going to fall down, please." So I think he has a history of, he has sugar. So, and then the other one we had immediately when he was ushered into power in somewhere 2015, he also collapsed. And I think for us, sickness is not something which deters us or makes us to judge a person, this is the problem, so this one cannot perform duties. We have never used sickness as a discriminatory boundary, or is it the yardstick? So basically for us, all can continue to participate in national duties. We are all sick somewhere in a way or another. So basically as a Patriot Front, we are not worried, and it's not an alarm to us, and we have continued because, you know, when it comes to about health belongs to God, and there isn't anyone who can judge somebody saying that you are sick, you cannot be available for national service. No. And history tells us one of the greatest leaders that we ever had, the one who even produced what we call the August House, Augustus Caesar, was a sickler. He was almost sick throughout his life. Julius Caesar, he used to collapse, he used to have fits. So basically you find that all these great leaders, they have had the sicknesses, and the latest one being Churchill, and then also Roosevelt. So the list is endless. We have had people who have had sicknesses, and they have continued dispensing their services to the nation. So basically with us, we are not moved at all. We know it's part of life. Sickness is part of life, and the death is just next door neighbor. Anytime, it could be you, it could be me. So we don't encourage anyone to use sickness as a discriminatory measure or anything that we can use. It's like just saying this one is a woman, no, is not going to be available for government. This one is an albino, is going to be in those lines. So basically to us, we don't use that one. As a party, we are confident, and as a party, we continue moving as a nation together, because health totally belongs to God.
But how should Zambians interpret that? Especially coming from a backdrop where we have had two sitting presidents who fell sick whilst in the office, and the image that was projected to the Zambian people was that, you know, it was just, you know, a temporal relapse in health, but it led to what most of us actually mourns even today. We can talk about, you know, the late President Michael Sata, the late President Mwanawasa. So Zambians could be concerned, Zambians could be afraid, Zambians could have all those questions. How should they interpret what happened on a Sunday?
Yeah, basically, as I've already said, I've said the leadership comes in a very dynamic way, and we have had instances which I've talked about. We have lost two who are serving, and these are among the most hardworking people that we lost who are in government. And among them, I think if you say, can we compare those who are there with Mwanawasa? People normally talk about Mwanawasa to this very day, but he died while serving the nation. If you talk about Michael Sata, this is the same scenario. So basically, we cannot separate individuals who are hardworking, saying that, you know, because of sicknesses we can sideline them. No. For us as a Patriot Front and to the rest of the nation, I think we don't, this is not something new. I've already said it has continued to happen across the nation. Is it across the world? So basically, they shouldn't be worried. So sickness is sickness.
As a party, do you think, as a party, what do you think? The president needs to take some time to rest?
Well, if the doctors advise him to rest, I think he needs to rest. And if he I think it's up to the way you take it. But you have already heard that is in good health, is enjoying good health, and this is not happening for the first time. These are some of the things where, you know, maybe you didn't get a sweet, you experience that dizziness. So basically, we have had people who had sugar for a long time.
Okay.
It's not something new.
Okay. So Zambians have got nothing to worry about.
They don't need to worry.
Okay. The president is fit.
He's very fit and very healthy, and they heard from him yesterday.
Okay. So now, just now connecting to what he said 3 hours after collapsing, he went for a fishing trip. How I wish he had invited me. How I wish he had invited me for that fishing trip, you know.
Yes,
I loved the scenario. He was fishing. I think we could have had a very good afternoon, you know. Connecting it to what he said, he has finally spoken about the violence that has taken place. That, I'm still in leadership, I'm still the
Yes.
president, and I still have some executive power
Yes.
to, to do
Yes,
that.
exactly.
Do you think the president is being pushed to that level?
I think that's the situation which is happening. The president is too democratic, too fatherly, and he has always managed that way. But people, they must understand that he's also human, and he can get the constitution and then invoke the same measures that he has been talking about that are vested into his office. So basically, the president is a very fatherly figure, and he understands the position in which we are. He wouldn't want to use some measures which will be more like a hindrance to other opposition leaders, especially that we have an opposition leader who is very emotional. Or can I say, opposition that we have at the moment, they are very emotional. They misinterpret almost everything. With this social media which we have around, they can put it on fire. But basically, I think if we find enough ground in which to invoke the same powers, I think he will do so.
When you talk about enough ground, what is enough ground than
Like,
what we have seen so far?
Yes, I think what we have seen so far, I think the president has already been pushed, as you have already said. The people are supposed to provide the security, the police, and then the Electoral Commission of Zambia, as he brought it out, they seem to be failing the Zambian people. So basically, it will need more help maybe from the same defense wing that he was presiding over yesterday, so that we can bring normal and to maybe call for a state of emergency, so that at the end of the day, the lives of our Zambian people it's preserved, and the peace that we have enjoyed since independence continues.
The UPND is accusing the PF of, being at the center of the violence that we have seen so far, because you provoke them and all they do is defend themselves. What's your take?
Look, this is what we have always said, that our friends, unfortunately, the way they react, it's too emotional. And the way they have been handling the violence part, it has been that one of finger pointing. And if you look what has happened, first I will talk first of the Mandevu saga, where we had almost, I think, about 6 people were crippled because by the entourage of the security entourage of one Ekaindi Chilema. And then we go to the one which happened in Mpulungu, and then there's another one which happened in Kasama, and then also we had the Kalulushi incidents. So basically, if you look at all these incidents, it is them who have been, it is them who has been hitting the Patriotic Front, and we haven't seen, apart from the one maybe which has been circulating, or where we have seen maybe the current incumbent, is it the aspiring candidate for Monari constituency, where is he injured? Maybe that's one casualty that we have seen on their side. But all these other sad instances, it is the Patriotic Front which has been receiving the blow. So we can't say that the UPND party it's doing its required position as we expect from everyone, and that is to maintain peace and to make sure that we retaliate, not using violence but using peaceful means. So basically, we are talking about a party which is armed with pangas, which is armed with any assortment of weapons. And yesterday, there is even the video which has gone viral. There is a lady even had a pistol, a piece of a pistol. So basically, it's unfortunate. So the UPND it has failed us, and it has continued failing us when it comes to the issue of violence. So they are not the victim. In fact, the Patriotic Front, we are the victim, because you have seen the videos, you have seen the pictures, you have seen how we have been attacked, right side and is it left, right, and center?
According to the conversation that I had with Honorable Trevor Mwinde, he did indicate that, what would you expect the UPND to do if at all they are having a roadshow and they receive warnings to say, no, you should not pass through here, you should not pass there, you should not pass through here because this is our stronghold. When it comes to this issue of road shows, does such things exist? Don't you think when a political party has been given a permit by the police to do a roadshow in Kanyama, then on that particular day they have to be given their space because that is their day. Even you guys, you go and get your permit and you have your own day.
Yes. Basically, as you have already said, that's how the issue are supposed to be happening. If you are given the day, it's your day, and that's what has been happening, and that's what we understand as Patriotic Front. We have been allowing him to move from Kapirimposhi to the Copper Belt. He has come back, and I think the unfortunate part is that as they are moving in their road shows, they have turned this road show into an opportunity to extort money from the public, to extort money from the vendors, from the marketeers. Maybe that's the way the UPND is paying their cadres, because the people have suffered this violence. It's not only the PF, but also innocent people. You have seen vehicles being bent, which are not even affiliated to the PF, but they are to the general members of the public. So basically, I think it's unfortunate that Mwindi has continued defending wrongdoing, and he has continued defending criminals who are hiding in their houses, in their political party, in the name of security. So basically, for us, we understand that the procedure is very simple. When you are allowed to go into Mandevu, there's no one who can stop you, because the police will provide the necessary security. And where you find that you have such threats, it's important to get back to the police and let them know about the situation and who is there who is trying to stop them. Otherwise, there isn't any such things as strongholds. There isn't any such things as this Mandevu is for the Patriotic Front. This Mandevu is it the Monalis for what? Otherwise, if we are going to do that, he wouldn't have even entered Lusaka, because if you look at Lusaka, it has all PF MPs. If you go to Copperbelt, the northern region, it has all PF members of parliament. So basically, that's a wrong approach. They should use not violence, but they should use amicable ways of addressing the situation in a civilized society that we are living in as at today.
All right. Earlier we had a conversation with Honorable Trevor Mwinde from the UPND, who also had his own thoughts in relation to political violence, and they feel each time that such things happen, they are the victims because they defend themselves. The PF brings it to the UPND, and now we want to see how we can obviously provide a solution here. My final question to the UPND gentleman was that, violence does not happen without retaliation. There should always be provocation and retaliation.
Yes.
But again, it's a responsibility of every political party involved to make sure that, peace is promoted. I asked Mr. Mwinde to say, what is UPND doing about it? So let me also pose the same question to you. What are you doing about it as a party?
I think in our preamble you asked about the president and the measure that you would want to, if the situation continues, and he talks about invoking some provisions in the constitution so that at the end of the day we are secured. So basically, for us as the Patriot Front, you have heard the Secretary General. Just as yesterday, he was addressing the journalists. He condemned violence, and he said it very categorically that this violence, the perpetrators, be PF or UPND, let the perpetrators of violence be stopped by the relevant authorities, and that is the police. Let them get arrested. And for us, we have spoken the same language consistently. We have never defended anybody, and we have never stood for violence. So basically, our stand has been the same, consistent, and that is we don't stand for violence. And we don't want to go into a campaign of violence. We have always believed that leadership should speak out against violence.
Okay, great.
And so that's our position.
So now, how do you handle cadres that appear to be, exhibiting those genes of violence? For instance, like what happened in Polungu, like what happened in in this constituency, which is Mandevu constituency. As a party, how do you handle such political cadres who seem to exhibit that gene of provocation?
We have a structure, and this structure is across the country. And instructions have been given to all these structures, starting from the ward level, the constituency level, the district level, and the provincial level, that disciplinary action should be instituted. And I know, all these other instances that have happened, these people have been attacked, these people have been involved in violence, they have been going through scrutiny through the party structure, the relevant party structures in all these places that it has been happening. And where they find that they were at fault, they have been disciplined, letters have been issued, and I know that that's how we have always operated as a Patriotic Front, especially that the SG gave the go-ahead to say that anyone who is seen, anyone who is behaving violent, the party structures, starting from the ward level, the ward chairman should start the disciplinary measures. So basically, that's our address, and that has been the way we have handled these violent cadres.
Finally, you are condemning UPND for having roadshows turned into public rallies. But the UPND is also saying you as well are having roadshows turned into public rallies, as seen in other constituencies. What's your response?
Yeah, in fact, the same roadshows, before we move away from the same violence, I would want to make it very clear to our people out there that if you follow the roadshow which is being conducted by the PF, there is no loss of property, there is no loss of life, there is no loss of anything. And then you follow the same roadshow which are being done by the UPND. That's where violence is happening. That's where almost disorder is happening. So basically, roadshows, they are not supposed to be an avenue for spreading fear, spreading hatred. But our friends, unfortunately, have been using these as a means of spreading hatred and then also fear in our people. So basically, getting to the question that I think roadshows, they are the only means that we have been left to both parties, but it's important that we follow them the way the PF have been doing them. Because if you look at our roadshows that we did in Baolen, there was no violence. If you get to our roadshow that we did in Kitwe, there was no violence. In Indola, Chiravombwe, there was no violence. And the roadshows that we have been doing in Mandevu, there was no, in Kanyama, there was no violence. But if you follow our friends, it's unfortunate. Even the first roadshow that Kaindi Chilema had in Kanyama, we had an instance of children being, stepped on, and they were killed. There was a life which was lost, a stampede. So basically, for us, I think it's important that as we conduct these roadshows, let us be more responsible. Let us be very cautious with the lives of our Zambian people, besides the COVID-19 and the guidelines that we have been told to observe, the 5 golden guidelines.
I hope as a party you're definitely observing those golden, the 5 golden rules of preventing COVID-19, because definitely COVID-19 is real.
Definitely. We have been following, you have seen, there have been a lot of people who have been moving with the masking up, and it could be, maybe we can be abrogating that one of, is it social distancing? But we have made sure that everyone is moving with gloves, and then also these sanitizers, they accompany them as they are moving along. And we don't stay in one place, but we continue moving as a movement, so that we do not subject anyone to any risk.
All right. Well, Honorable, thank you so much for coming through, and of course for being part of the breakfast show this morning.
Thank you very much, Honorable Zuru. I'm humbled, and I always get here as per your demand. Thank you so much.
All right, so I hope that you have got a balanced view of issues, as both the UPND and the PF definitely were at this platform, just clarifying on a number of issues, starting from the president's health to political violence. So the message is clear, just as it came from Dr. Miti just immediately after that event happened on a Sunday. The president responded, he is okay. And the statement was also issued from State House, where it also affirms the fact that that was just a temporal dizziness that the president experienced, but otherwise, health-wise, he is in good condition. And he demonstrated that by having a leisure time later on in the afternoon, where he went to fishing of which up to today I still feel offended because the president was supposed to invite me for that fishing trip. I wanted to be part of that fishing trip so that we can definitely do the fishing together. But anyways, I'm looking forward to the next time that the president takes on a tour of duty to go and inspect the ponds and take part in the fishing exercise. All right, so the breakfast show continues. We'll be back shortly.
Catch up with the latest and most trending Zambian music videos.